Have you ever wondered why opposites seem to attract? Or more intriguingly, why they seem to depend on each other? Why day cannot exist without night? Why stillness feels different after motion? Or why peace is only truly understood in contrast to conflict? These aren't just poetic ideas. They're part of an ancient and powerful worldview. One that teaches us that the universe isn't built on battles between good and evil, but on balance, flow, and harmony. That worldview is Taoism, and at its heart lies one of the most beautiful and misunderstood symbols of all time, yin and yang. Welcome to the unfolding journey, your space for exploring timeless wisdom, spiritual philosophy, and the art of living consciously. If you're curious about the world's ancient traditions and how they can guide us in the modern day, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into one of the most fundamental and fascinating concepts in Taoist philosophy, the dynamic interplay of yin and yang. So let's begin. The concept of yin and yang has its roots in ancient Chinese cosmology, long before it was systematized in Taoism. Early Chinese thinkers observed nature not through a lens of rigid dualities, but through cyclical processes. Day becomes night, heat cools, storms clear into calm, and so on. It wasn't about good versus evil. It was about complementary forces, continuously interacting and shaping the world. In Taoism, these forces were given the names yin and yang. Yin represents the receptive, the dark, the feminine, the cool, the passive, the internal. Yang represents the active, the bright, the masculine, the warm, the assertive, the external. Yet neither is superior to the other. Each contains the seed of its opposite. This is why the classic Tai Chi symbol, that swirling black and white circle, has a dot of white in the black and a dot of black in the white. This visual isn't just beautiful, it's a philosophical masterpiece. One of the biggest misconceptions in Western interpretations of yin and yang is that they represent opposing forces, like a cosmic tug-of-war. But in Taoist thinking, they are not in conflict. They are interdependent. You cannot have one without the other. Imagine trying to define darkness if light had never existed, or understanding silence without ever hearing sound. The essence of yin is only understandable through the presence of yang, and vice versa. Laozi, the legendary sage of Taoism and author of the Tao Te Ching, emphasized this in his poetic lines. When people see things as beautiful, ugliness is created. When people see things as good, evil is created. This may sound paradoxical, but it's pointing to a truth. Our perceptions arise from contrast. And those contrasts don't divide the world, they create its rhythm. Yin and yang are not static states. They are phases of a constant, ever-turning cycle. Think about the 4 seasons. Spring transitions into summer, yang rising, then to autumn, yang declining, yin rising, and eventually to winter, yin at its peak, before circling back again. The same applies to the human experience. Breathing involves inhalation, yang, and exhalation, yin. Waking life is yang, sleep is yin. Even emotions can be seen this way, joy and sorrow, excitement and calm, all part of a dynamic dance. This fluidity is central to Taoist wisdom. Rather than resisting change, we are encouraged to flow with it. Embrace the rise and fall. Recognize when to act and when to yield. So how does yin and yang apply to our modern lives? Here's the truth. We are often stuck in yang overdrive, constantly moving, achieving, talking, pushing, producing. Our culture often celebrates activity over stillness, doing over being. But Taoism teaches balance. It reminds us that rest is not laziness, it is renewal. That introspection is as vital as expression. That quiet power can be stronger than loud dominance. Let's look at a few practical applications. In relationships, we learn that being assertive, yang, must be balanced with listening and empathy, yin. In work, ambition, yang, should be tempered with rest and reflection, yin, to avoid burnout. In conflict, Taoism teaches us not always to confront head-on, but to sometimes yield and redirect like water, classic yin wisdom. Even in health and medicine, traditional Chinese medicine is built on restoring the balance of yin and yang within the body. Too much yang energy? You might experience restlessness or inflammation. Too much yin? You could feel sluggish or withdrawn. The key is harmony. One of the most poetic things about yin and yang is how clearly they're reflected in the natural world. The moon yin and sun yang. Mountains yang and valleys yin. The ocean's waves crashing in yang and pulling out yin. Nature is always balancing itself. And that's no accident. In Taoism, Tao or Tao is the ultimate principle. the source of all things, the mysterious way that underlies the universe. Yin and Yang are not separate from the Tao, they are expressions of it. Think of Tao as the river. Yin and Yang are its currents, rising, falling, twisting, flowing, but always connected to the same source. Understanding Yin and Yang, then, is not just an intellectual exercise. It's a doorway to experiencing life more fully, more mindfully, and more harmoniously. A deeper layer of the yin-yang concept is that it invites us to move beyond rigid dualism. The world is not simply divided into binaries, good and bad, success and failure, black and white. Taoism asks us to hold the complexity, to recognize that joy may contain sadness, weakness may become strength, and what seems like a setback may be the beginning of transformation. In fact, in the I Ching, the Book of Changes, a foundational Taoist text, every situation is seen as being in motion. What is now yin will eventually become yang and vice versa. Change is not something to fear. It is the nature of reality. When we embrace this, we begin to see life not as a struggle, but as a dance. So what can we take away from the Taoist concept of yin and yang? It's not just about philosophy or ancient symbols. It's a lens for living. It encourages us to listen as much as we speak, to rest as much as we strive, to understand that opposition is often a path to harmony, not division. In a world that often pushes us toward extremes, Taoism gently calls us back to the center, to the quiet power of balance, and to the wisdom that everything contains its opposite, and that's what makes life whole. If this exploration of yin and yang sparked something in you, or made you look at life a little differently, then this is just the beginning. Here on the Unfolding Journey, we dive into the depths of spiritual traditions, ancient wisdom, and mindful living. There's so much more to explore, from the teachings of Laozi and Zhuangzi to Taoist practices you can try in your daily life. So if you're ready to keep unfolding with us, glowing star, hit that subscribe button. Bellhop bell, turn on notifications, and join us on the path toward deeper understanding, inner peace, and connected living. Thank you for watching, and remember, in the rhythm of yin and yang, life finds its harmony. See you in the next video. Death is not an error in the system. It is not a failure of medicine or a punishment from the heavens. It is a return, a dissolving, a movement back into the whole. For Taoists, the ultimate wisdom lies not in cheating death, but in understanding it. Not in fighting the river, but in floating with it, eyes open, heart steady, mind clear. The leaf that falls is not lost. It nourishes the earth. It becomes the root, the seed, the tree once more. So too do we. If this reflection on the Taoist view of death and immortality spoke to something deep within you, that quiet place that longs for peace, clarity, and harmony, we invite you to continue this journey with us. Subscribe to The Unfolding Journey for more explorations into philosophy, spiritual wisdom, and the art of living well. Let us walk together, through life, through death, and through the mystery that binds them. Until next time, may you walk gently with the way.